Hello everyone, myself Darshana Patel, working as a assistant professor at VS Patel College of Arts and Science BCA department. So today we are going to learn something about process management. So let us not waste time and start with the topic. So what is process? Process, a program in execution is known as process. So what does this means? This means that when we write a program in any high level language such as C, C++, Java, that is known as a program. It consists of instructions. Now these programs are written in high level language, and so in order to execute these instructions we need to convert it into machine understandable code. This converted code is known as machine level language. Now this program or code that is stored on hard disk or secondary storage device and is known as program. Now it is not capable of doing any task for which we have created it. Now in order to make that program do the task, we need to bring that program into main memory for its execution. When a program is brought into the main memory for execution, it is known as process. Process is more than a program code. Now why we say that process is more than a programming code? That is because when a program is brought into the main memory, a memory is allocated to that process. Now what does that memory consist of? It consists of text or code. That means the instructions that we have written in program. On top of that, it consists of a data section. Now what does this data section consist of? It consists of global variables or static variables that we have created. Then there is a heap. Now what is the use of this heap? Now within a program, when we allocate dynamic memory for a variable, then this dynamic memory is allocated from this heap. So what does that means by dynamic memory allocation? That means if we have used pointers within our program, then the memory for these pointers are allocated from the heap. And on the top of the heap there is a stack. So what is the use of the stack? This stack is used when a program needs to save its current state before jumping to another section of a program. What does that mean? That means that if we have called a function within our program, then the control must pass to that function. Now before passing the control to the function, we need to save the current status of the program. Now this status is stored on stack. So a process consists of a text of code, data, heap and stack, and so it is said that process is more than programming code. Now in the figure you can see that stack is pointing towards downwards and heap is pointed towards upward. What does that means? Now the memory allocation from the heap is always from bottom to top direction, whereas if we put stack on the top of it, and if the direction of stack is also the same as the direction of heap, then what will happen? It will be difficult to maintain that where the stack ends and where the heap ends. So the direction of stack is from top towards the bottom, whereas the direction of heap is from bottom towards the text. So let us move towards the next section. Process state. Every process that is created needs to pass through different stages or states before it exists. So there are two different models proposed for this process state. The first model is known as two-state process model, and the second one is known as five-state process model. So let us first look at what is the two-state process model. In two-state process model, a process has to pass between two stages, that is not running and running. Now what does this means? When a process is first created, its execution does not start all of a sudden. It needs to be brought into the memory and it needs to be allocated the resources that it needs Once it is allocated the resource, then it's ready for execution. Now it receives all the resources and the process starts the execution. So the state of the process changes from not running to running. In running stage, the process executes all the instructions one by one. Now while execution, it needs some input output. So it has to leave the CPU and perform the input output operations. So the state of process changes from running to not running state. Once the process completes its input output operations, it start again. That means its state changes from not running to running state. The process keeps on switching between these two stages until its execution is complete. In the end, the process terminates and the resources allocated to the process are released for other process to use it. 5-state process model. In 5-state process model, a process passes through 5 different stages before it terminates. The 5 stages are new, ready, running, blocked, and exit. Now let us look at the definition of each of these states. So first is new. When a process is just created but is not brought into the main memory, such a stage of a process is called new state. Second is ready. So ready state means when a process is brought into the main memory and is waiting in ready queue for its execution. This state is known as a ready state. The third state is running. When a process is selected from the ready queue and its execution start, then the state of the process is known as running state. Next is blocked. When a process needs some input output operations or when an interrupt occurs, at that time the execution of process is paused or suspended. This state is known as blocked state. And the last is exit. When the process completes its execution and it needs to be terminated, then this state is called exit state. We have seen 5 different stages a process passes before it ends. So now let us see how the state transition occurs. This means how a process passes from one state to another. First state is null to new. This means when a new process is created, the first transition occurs and this transition is known as null to new. The second transition is from new to ready. So when a process is brought into the ready queue from the secondary storage device, the state of process changes from new to ready. It is also called process dispatched. So what does this dispatch means? Dispatch means giving the control of CPU to a process so that it can execute. Now once a process is dispatched, it transits from ready state to running state. In running state, the process executes its instructions. Now while executing the instructions, 3 different situations may arise. First, the execution of process gets completed. And in this situation, the state of process changes from running to exit. When the process ends or terminates, it releases the resources that it had acquired during the running state. The second situation may be the time period given to the process for running gets over. So the process has to suspend its execution and the process will again be placed in the ready queue. And this state of process changes from running state to ready state. And the last situation or the third situation may be that process needs to perform some input output operations and so it has to wait for IO device and the state of process changes from running state to block stage. And the last transition is from block to ready. This transition occurs when a process that was waiting for the input output device receives this device and performs IO operations and and after performing the IO operations, it is ready for execution once again, and the state changes from block state to ready state. The process repeatedly transits from one state to another till its execution ends. Now let us look at process control block. As I had said earlier that a program in execution is called process. So when a process is created, then for every process a process control block also gets created. A process control block is a data structure that operating system maintains to store some specific information about the particular process or about a respective process. A process control block is also known as task control block or process descriptor. Shown in diagram, a process control block stores information such as pointer, process state, process number, program counter, CPU registers, memory allocations, event information, list of open files, etc. Now we will see in details each of the information that is stored by process control block. So first is pointer. The pointer stores the address of next process control block that is ready for execution. The second is process state. Process state stores the information about the current state of process, that is new, ready, running, block and exit. This we have already covered. The next information that process control block stores is process number. Process number is a unique number assigned to each process so that they can be uniquely and easily identified. Next is program counter. Program counter is a register that stores the address of next instruction that is to be executed. For example, if CPU is executing the first instruction, then program counter will have the address of second instruction, and when CPU is executing second instruction, then the program counter will have the address of third instruction. Next is CPU scheduling. It stores the information such as what is the priority of the process. Is the process very important or the process is an ordinary process? It also stores the address of the scheduling queues. We will be seeing scheduling queues later in next videos. But for now, scheduling queue is a queue where the processes are waiting for their turn. Next is CPU registers. CPU registers stores the state information of a process that is interrupt, so that after the interrupt is handled, its execution can continue from where it has been suspended. So let us understand it by taking a real life example. Suppose you are reading a book, or suppose you are reading a novel and suddenly you receive a phone call. So what will you do? You will put a bookmark in your novel and then you will turn to attend the call. After the call gets completed, you will start reading the novel from where you had stopped. So the CPU registers are like your bookmark. Next is memory allocation. It stores the information such as base register, limit register, page table address or segment table address. We will be looking at these things later in next videos. But for now, base register stores the information such as starting address of the process, whereas limit register stores the information about the size of the process. Next is event information. It stores the information about the event due to which the process was paused or due to which the process was sleeping. List of open files. It stores the information about the files that are used by the process during the execution. Next is IO status. It stores the information about the list of input-output device that the process used during the execution. And the last one is account information. It stores the information such as how much amount of CPU was utilized, how much time it used, different jobs or processes that it used or created during the execution. Process table. So when a process is created, along with the process we have seen that a process control blocks gets created which stores the information about that process. Now when there are now when the process changes from one state to another, the operating system updates this information in its process control block. Now at any given time there are many processes in the memory. So to quickly access a process control block, the operating system creates process table. This process table stores unique ID of every process and the address of process control and the address of its process control block. So we can say that process table is like the index of a book that enables us to search the topic quickly.